أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. As the month of Ramadan fast approaches, we have now less than a month. It is good to get into the practice of being able to tune ourselves into getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His remembrance. And maybe one of the best ways is through Salatul Lail or Salatul Tahajjud. Let us first look at what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about Salatul Tahajjud in the Quran. And there are many ayat which describe nearness of Allah coming by foregoing a part of one's sleep. If we look at Salatul Tur, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Incidentally, this is Surah number 52, ayah 49. وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَسَبِّحْهُ وَإِدْبَارَ النُّجُومِ. And in the night, glorify Him, and at the setting of the stars. Again, if we look at Surah Al-Dahr, He says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَاسْجُدْ لَهُ وَسَبِّحْهُ لَيْلًا طَوِيلًا. During a part of the night, adore Him and give glory to Him for a long part of the night. If we look again at Surah Al-Zariyat, Surah number 51, when He talks about those who rise at night, He says, كَانُوا قَلِيلًا مِنَ اللَّيْلِ مَا يَحْجَعُونَ وَبِالْأَسْحَارِ هُمْ يَسْتَغْفِرُونَ. They used to sleep but a little in the night, and in the early part of the morning they asked for forgiveness. If we look at Surah Al-Sajdah, Surah number 32, He says, تتجافى جنوبهم عن المضاجع يدعون ربهم خوفا وطمعا ومما رزقناهم ينفقون فلا تعلم نفس ما أخفي لهم من قرة أعين جزاء بما كانوا يعملون. Their sides draw away from their beds. They call upon their Rabb in fear and in hope, and they spend benevolently out of what we have given them. So no soul knows what is hidden for them of that which will refresh the eyes, a reward for what they did. And possibly if we look at a direct reference to Salatul Lail, then we will look at Surah Bani Israel, ayah 79, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنَ اللَّيْلِ فَتَعَجَّدْ بِهِ نَافِلَةً لَكَ أَسَىٰ أَن يَبْعَثَكَ رَبُّكَ مَقَامًا مَحْمُودًا. And during a part of the night, pray tahajjud beyond what is incumbent upon you. Maybe your Rabb will raise you to a position of great glory. It's amazing. Maqam Mahmud, an elevated position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, there is no good deed except that its reward has been outlined in the Quran, except Salatul Lail. Allah has not specified its reward due to its closeness, its greatness towards Him. And it is one of the most effective ways of reaching one's full potential. The perception of the nafs opens up. There is closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Surah Al-Muzammil, this is Surah number 73, He says, إِنَّ نَاشِئَةَ اللَّيْلِ هِيَ أَشَدُّ وَطْأً وَأَقْوَى مُقِيلًا. Surely the rising by night is the firmest way to tread and the best corrective of speech. Let's look at some hadith which will elaborate further on it. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said 3 things bring happiness to the heart of a mu'min: meeting their brothers in faith, breaking the fast, and waking up at the later part of the night for Salatul Layl. He said, Jibreel continued to advise me about staying up at night until I thought that the virtuous ones of my ummah do not sleep. He continued to say, 2 rakats of salah recited in the darkness of the night are more beloved to me than the world and that all that is in it. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, the honor and greatness of a believer lies in his praying at night. He said, I detest that the human being who has recited the Quran wakes up at night but does not rise in the morning when he wakes up for Salatul Subh. Imam Ali alayhi salam said that the rising by night is healthy for the bodies. It brightens the faces, makes the night pleasant, and attracts sustenance. There's so many hadith. Each one is one to just sit and think about. let's look at some more so we can ponder over them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when the abd of Allah turns to his Rabb in the middle of the dark night and whispers to him, Allah establishes His light in his heart. Then He tells the angels, "Oh my angels, look at my abd. He has turned to me in the middle of the dark night while others are playing and sleeping and the heedless ones are sleeping. Bear witness that I have forgiven him." He also said, whoever has been granted the chance to recite Salatul Tahajjud, a male or a female, and he or she rises for Allah sincerely, does proper wudu, prays Salah with a true intention, a sound heart, a humble body, and a tearful eye, Allah will place behind him or her 9 rows of angels, and in each row they cannot be counted except by Allah. One side is in the east, another is in the west. And when he or she completes the Salah, they get the reward of all the angels in that row. I don't know what else can convince us. It's absolutely wonderful. The time for Salatul Lail begins after midnight until the time of Fajr. And the best time is to recite it as close to Fajr as possible. If you cannot manage all the 11 rakats, then divide it into the 8, 2 and 1 and just recite Salatul Shafa and Salatul Witr. Salatul Shafa is 2 rakats and Salatul Witr is 1 rakat. And if you feel you can't even do that, then start off with 1 rakat of Salatul Witr. You stand up, Takbiratul Ihram, Allahu Akbar, Suratul Fatiha, then recite Suratul Ikhlas 3 times, Suratul Falaq 1 time, Suratul Nas 1 time. Raise your hands in dua and recite all the things that I'm going to mention now. Any one of those. It's preferable to recite all of them, but even a little bit. It goes a long way. The first dua that is recommended in Qunut is Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. La ilaha illallah al-Halimul Kareem. لا إله إلا الله العلي العظيم سبحان الله رب السماوات السبع ورب الأرضين السبع وما فيهن وما بينهن وما فوقهن وما تحتهن رب العرش العظيم وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعليه الطاهرين. There is no God except Allah, the forbearing, the generous. There is no God except Allah, the High, the Almighty. Glory be to Allah, Rabb of the 7 heavens and Rabb of the 7 earths, and whatever is in them and between them and above them and below them, Rabb of the mighty throne. Peace be upon the messengers. All praises for Allah, Rabb of the worlds. O Allah, bless Muhammad and his progeny. Then recite 70 times, Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. I ask for forgiveness of Allah, my Rabb, and I turn to Him. And then 7 times say, هَذَا مَكَامُ أَعِيذُ بِكَ مِنَ النَّارِ. This is the position of one who seeks refuge in you from the fire. Ask for forgiveness of 40 believers, men and women, who have died or are living. And you can say that by saying, Allahumma ghfirli, and repeat their names. If you can't do that, then just say once, Allahumma ghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat. Oh Allah, forgive all believers, male and female. Say Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa huwa al-hayyul qayyum li jami' dhulmi wa jurmi wa israfi ala nafsi wa atubu ilay. I seek forgiveness of Allah, He who there is no God but He, the ever living, the subsisting, from all my oppressions and my sins and the excesses on my soul, and I turn repentant to Him. And finally, 300 times say Al-Af. Af is the quality of Allah where He rubs away sins without leaving a mark. Basically what you're saying is, Ya Allah, I ask you for that effacing of my sins. And right at the end, Rabbi ighfirli warhamni wa tub alayya innaka anta at-tawwabur rahim. My Rabb, forgive me and have rahmah on me and turn to me. Surely you are the oft-returning, the merciful. Then go into ruku, your 2 sujoods, tashahhud and salam. And may Allah accept the amals of all. But this particular salah is just amazing. If there's anything you wish, if you wish to have energy, if you wish to have life, if you wish to see a direction, try reciting this salah and see the difference it makes in your life. We will continue with various aspects of this salah as and when we have the opportunity to slot them in. But this is the simplest way to recite this. If you've got time, 8 rakats of nafilah, 2 rakats of shafa and 1 rakat of witr.